History is often written by kings and conquerors, but sometimes the real power lies in something much smaller, invisible spores, hidden in the very food we eat. Throughout the Middle Ages and into the 17th century, thousands of people across Europe and colonial America were executed for witchcraft. They were accused of dancing with demons, speaking in tongues, and experiencing terrifying hallucinations. But modern science suggests that these witches weren't consorting with the devil, they were victims of a tiny, purple fungus called ergot. Ergot, Claviceps purpurea, is a fungus that infects rye and other cereal grains. During cold, damp springs, it grows into dark, curved spikes that look like a rooster's spur. To a medieval peasant, it just looked like a slightly odd grain of rye. But inside that grain was a cocktail of powerful alkaloids, including lysergic acid, the same base chemical that would later be used to synthesize LSD. When this infected rye was ground into flour and baked into bread, entire villages were unknowingly microdosing, and sometimes macrodosing, on one of the most potent psychedelics found in nature. The symptoms of ergot poisoning, known then as St. Anthony's fire, were terrifying. There were two forms, gangrenous and convulsive. The gangrenous form caused limbs to turn black and fall off due to constricted blood flow. But it was the convulsive form that changed history. Victims suffered from muscle spasms, agonizing prickling sensations on their skin, and, most significantly, vivid, terrifying hallucinations. They saw fire falling from the sky, felt invisible insects crawling over their bodies, and heard voices. In a world deeply rooted in religious superstition, there was only one explanation for such behavior: demonic possession. Perhaps the most famous case tied to ergot is the Salem witch trials of 1692. For centuries, the strange behavior of the young girls in Salem, their fits, their claims of being pinched by invisible hands, and their visions, was a mystery. In the 1970s, researchers noticed a pattern. The winter of 1691 was unusually wet, and the rye harvested in Salem came from low-lying, swampy fields, the perfect breeding ground for ergot. The fits that led to the execution of 20 people perfectly match the symptoms of convulsive ergotism. The witches of Salem may have been nothing more than victims of a contaminated loaf of bread. The story of ergot didn't end with the witch trials. In 1938, a Swiss chemist named Albert Hofmann was studying ergot alkaloids to find a way to stabilize blood pressure. In his lab, he synthesized the 25th derivative of the substance, lysergic acid diethylamide, or LSD-25. Hofmann accidentally absorbed a tiny amount through his fingertips and went on the world's first trip, famously riding his bicycle home as the world dissolved into kaleidoscopic patterns. What began as a fungus that drove medieval peasants to the stake became the foundation of the 1960s counterculture and modern psychedelic research. The ergot story reminds us that we are deeply connected to the biology of our planet. A simple change in the weather can create a fungus that topples social orders, fuels mass hysteria, and changes our understanding of the human mind. We think we are the masters of our destiny, but history shows that sometimes, a tiny mold on a piece of rye is the one pulling the strings. It makes you wonder, how many other supernatural events in our past were actually just nature playing tricks on our chemistry? If you're fascinated by the dark intersections of science and history, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We explore the hidden forces and biological mysteries that shaped our world. Join our community of curious minds, subscribe now and click the bell icon. Tell us in the comments, do you think modern society could survive a mass, natural psychedelic event?